onto the ice right now. The Blackhawks will be coming up at the other end. Capitals still on the shot department, leading the Chicago Blackhawks. They pumped 12 shots at Ed Belfour in that second period, a total of 20 for the game so far. 10 for the Hawks in the second stanza, 15 total in the hockey game. Warren Strelo on the left, Peter Sundstrom, Lou Francischetti, Jack Ferrara, Minnesota North Star general manager.
So Jack Ferrara is telling Lou Francischetti how the North Stars are going to turn around now that they've signed Mike Modano.
Either that or all the wisdom that Louis couldn't impart to Doug McLean, he's imparting now to Jack Ferrara. He's got all the answers to turn them around. We told you statistically with the Capitals still leading in the shot department, but the penalties are real key right now. 10 penalties for 23 minutes for the Capitals. 9 for 21 minutes for the Blackhawks, and the Blackhawks really did turn things around with that 5-on-3 late in the second period as both Grant Ledyard and Bobby Gould went off for doing misdeeds towards Rick Vaive, according to Rob Schick. Interference to Ledyard, cross-checking to Gould, and there still will be 12 seconds left on the Ledyard call for cross-checking. Gould came out of the box as soon as Dennis Savard scored, and at the end of that second period, Rob Schick called unsportsmanlike conduct penalties on Kevin Hatcher and Everett Sanapass, so they will start the third period in the box.
Pete Peters' last outing was against Philadelphia last Thursday, and he was beaten in that contest 4-1, and he faced the Hawks only once last year. That was a 2-1 win at the Capitol Center. Lifetime against Chicago in 13 games. Peters is 6-5-2 with a 3.23 goals against average.
You know, another big factor in this contest, we really didn't have a chance to talk about it, is the absence now of Bengt Gustafsson. We said we will not see him back. I do not see him on the bench right now. Mike Miller did not play much in this game. I don't think any shifts in that second period. So Brian Murray had hoped to kind of shake things up with Corriveau and with Mike Miller, but because Gustafsson went out, Bobby Gould, who was basically kind of the extra forward tonight, had to get a very important role there at center ice, taking over for Gustafsson, and that really changed Brian Murray's makeup of things, and it takes away an excellent defensive player in Gustafsson, and of course an outstanding offensive player, a guy who really makes things happen with his line mates.
We don't believe it to be anything serious, just serious enough to get him out of this game. We mentioned before that is thought to be a mild concussion. Gus didn't look like he felt well when we had that shot of him in the hallway after the first period. And he did come back to the ice and sat on the bench for a while, but then he elected to go back to the dressing room during the second period. Here's an offside call, and now we've got Steve Thomas and Scott Stevens who are going to fight. Stevens trying to get the left hand loose. His right hand is tied up. And now he and Thomas are going to go to the penalty boxes.
Well, this does absolutely nothing for the Capitals, and if anything, whether you call that fight a draw or not, this favors the Chicago Blackhawks. Their bench, their people leaning over, pounding on the bench. Steve Thomas, certainly a valuable offensive player, but Scott Stevens now at least out for 5 minutes, maybe more if there's any extra to go on. That fires up the Blackhawks, fires up this crowd, and the Capitals don't need that. It may be awful difficult to walk away if you're being challenged, and you can see Steve Thomas got the gloves off before Scott Stevens, and that will be interesting to me to see, will it be an instigator call? Thomas, a smaller player, gets some good shots in there.
Scott Stevens, 5 minutes for fighting. Blackhawk penalty number 32, Steve Thomas, 5 minutes for fighting.
Now, when one guy's got the gloves off and is obviously trying to get Scott Stevens to go, why does that not qualify as instigating? There's no question that is what Steve Thomas wanted to do. In a situation like that, it's one thing if both guys look at each other, throw off the gloves at the same time and go, but you clearly saw in that replay Scott Stevens waiting there as Steve Thomas had the gloves out and was challenging him. If that doesn't signify instigation to me, the penalty doesn't exist.
Well, Rob Schick just heard about this from Rod Langway, and as you watch it again, you can see exactly what Al's talking about. Thomas has already got a grip on him and ready to throw the punch. Stevens is still holding his stick at that point. But remember, here's a scoring opportunity for Washington, and Belfour makes the save, and now we've got a call coming up, and I think that goal is going to count. The puck ends up in the net, with a delayed penalty call coming, but Washington is going to be credited with a goal. Point I was going to make was Scott Stevens did nothing to endear himself to Rob Schick earlier in the game, and it may have worked that way against Scott.
But I'll tell you, what all the advantage that the Blackhawks would have gained by that fight, I think it's been lost right here. Ed Belfour looks like he's got the puck frozen for a minute, but Rob Schick is right behind him. Now he's going to call a penalty, not freezing the puck, and Kelly Miller just sneaks in behind him. All the defensemen piled down on top of the Capital in front, but that puck was loose. That puck was free, and Kelly Miller sweeps it in. Boy, that takes a starch out of this crowd, and it negates anything that fight that Steve Thomas started gained, unless the Capitals really get into additional trouble with another defenseman. Excellent play by Kelly Miller. Non-stop hustle is his game, and it pays off there.
The puck cleared all the way back to center ice, and Conroy has it now for Chicago. Hits 5 with a pass at the blue line to Vince Gillette. Walks in and fires, and that hit Peters right in the face mask. The puck goes to the backboards. Langway back to chase after it. Live takes a run at him and misses, and now Christian flips it out to center ice. We haven't heard the announcement yet on the goal. Our thinking is it'll go to Kelly Miller, who appeared to have knocked that in right from the goal crease.
I think Leach and Ridley, his line mates, should pick up assists.
Leach certainly should. He's the one that knocked it free from Belfour. Now Christian in the corner in his own end. Turns to start out. Gets it ahead to Courtnall. Courtnall out to the center line. Has a stick broken. The Hawks come back. Dirk Graham flips to the side of the net. Langway works it free. Rod Langway out of the zone to center ice. Langway brings it ahead on the left wing for Hunter. Out to center ice for Ivan Korovo. He's tripped at the blue line. There's going to be a penalty call coming up against Chicago. And as Wilson touches it, 2 minutes for tripping. Washington has the power play coming up. There's a break in the action with a score. The Capitals 4 and the Blackhawks 3.
Every year. Forest Chrysler Plymouth on Route 355 in Gaithersburg.
The Capitals holding a 4-3 lead now can add to it on the power play as Dave Manson is called for tripping up Ivan Korovo. The leg between the skates, or the stick between the skates and legs of Ivan Korovo, swinging him down, and Mike Keenan's team must go shorthanded for the next 2 minutes with Manson, one of his big, strong defensemen, a guy who would get out there in penalty-killing duty in the box.
2:23 the time of the call. For tripping. Leach and Ridley get the assists on the Miller goal at 51 seconds of the third period. Now the Hawks cleared all the way down. Pete Peters over to the corner boards after it, throws it behind the net. Kevin Hatcher up the right wing, sends it out to center ice. Here's Mike Miller on the ice now for Washington to Pavanka, back to Hatcher, walks in and fires. Belfour makes the stick save. Into the corner, Grant Ledyard to Mike Ridley. At the blue line, it goes off the stick of Hatcher back out to center. Ledyard over on the right wing boards now for Kevin Hatcher. Ledyard across the line, and offside called as Ridley apparently came in first. Still a minute 13 seconds left on the Blackhawk penalty to Dave Manson.
You know, Grant Ledyard, particularly on this power play, is going to get a lot of ice time with Scott Stevens in the penalty box. Ledyard, the left-handed shot. Scott Stevens usually gets that first crack out there on that left point. Grant Ledyard would be getting some good power play time anyway. His play certainly has come on all season long and picked up those 2 goals a couple weeks ago against Buffalo. And the big shot is getting unleashed a lot more from Grant Ledyard.
Larry Murphy back at his own line. Left wing pass. Courtnall fires, and he misses the net wide. The puck caroms all the way out to center ice. Peters goes to the corner after it. Still handling the puck and plays it to Murphy. Good job done by Pete Peters. Gets it ahead to Courtnall. At the blue line. Courtnall Loses the puck. Hunter in to help out. Dale Hunter being hooked by Presley. Gets free of him. Now back to the point. 30 seconds left in the power play. Centering pass. Misses Courtnall. Off the sideboards. Play to the point for Larry Murphy. Winds a slap shot. Bounces wide. And now Presley clears it all the way down. Larry Murphy behind his own net. Starts out to Courtnall. Works to the center line. Gets across the blue line. Looking for Hunter on the right wing. Wilson goes to the corner after it and picks it up and clears all the way down. That ends the penalty to Manson. So Chicago is back at full strength. 4-3. Washington has the lead. 15.5 minutes to play in the third period. Wilson shot caroms wide. Here's Larry Murphy. Flips it out to center ice. Bounces in for Gertner on the right wing. In front. And Christian is robbed by Belfour on a one-timer from point-blank range. There's a break in the action with a score. Capitals 4 and the Blackhawks 3.
On Amtrak's Metroliner service, you can spread out over breakfast. The air shuttle encourages closer working relationships. On Metroliner service, you can have a private conversation. The plane, however, offers conference calls. On Amtrak's Metroliner service, you can travel first class. On the air shuttle, everyone gets treated equally.
Capitals hockey coming your way from the stadium in Chicago. I'm Al Koken along with Mike Gorns, hoping you're enjoying the action live and exclusively on WDCA TV 20. Caps lead it 4-3 over the Hawks with 15 minutes left in the third period.
Vincelette slowed up at the red line. Now clears it across the Washington line, and Langway takes it. He clears it out to center. Rod Langway back to pick it up. Over to Kevin Hatcher. Now to Mike Gartner. Gives to Pavanka. Works to center ice. Here comes Gartner across the blue line. Winds and fakes. And he's taken out by Dave Manson. Good a play as you can make on defense right there by Manson. Stayed right with Gartner. Offside called now as the puck shot inside the Washington zone.
You can win a trip for two to the 1989 NHL All-Star Game in Edmonton in the Campbell's Chunky Soup All-Star Fan Sweepstakes. Send your name, address, and phone number on a postcard, along with the Campbell's Chunky Soup slogan, "It takes care of the meanest appetites." Send that along to Capitals Chunky Soup Sweepstakes, Post Office Box 1234, Hyattsville, Maryland 20785. In addition, entrants will be eligible to win 5 pairs of Capital tickets.
Well, Neely and Burridge got the 2 Boston goals tonight to spark the Bruins past Hartford 4-3. Bob Mason, former Chicago Blackhawk and former Washington Capital, in goal against Brian Hayward for Montreal at the Forum. And the Canadians in the lead over Quebec 6-4. Here's Ridley. Here's Ledyard to try and start out. Think the Hawks wish they had Mason now?
Well, couldn't believe they gave him up so soon. 1 year. With all the shots he had to face, I don't think he did a bad job at all.
I think it was the combination of Darren Pang and Belfour that they thought could handle the load. Now they're forced into playing Jimmy Waite, and they don't think he's ready. Larry Murphy tries to clear it out, but Savard's shot keeps it inside the Washington zone. Now Leach sends to the blue line. Presley keeps it in, and Kelly Miller clears it all the way back to the Chicago end. Doug Wilson up to center ice for Savard. Back to Wilson. Flips right in front, and Langway clears it away from in front of the net. Here's Savard to the blue line. Now Gould works it free. Dirk Graham dumps it back inside the Washington zone, and it's played off the glass for Bobby Gould. Savard knocked to the ice by Langway. Wilson gives him a shove, and the puck cleared back down the ice. The Hawks try to start again. Hatcher breaks it up at center. Now fires it on goal. But Corvo was offside on the left wing. There's a break in the action with the score. Washington 4 and Chicago 3.
I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting all day. When I'm through with you, you're gonna be history, man. I'm gonna eat you up. And you know what? I'm gonna enjoy it.
Nothing takes care of a mean appetite like the tender chunks of chicken and rich egg noodles in Campbell's Chunky Chicken Nugget Soup.
Eat you up.
Campbell's Chunky, it takes care of the meanest appetites.
What I'd like for Christmas is a nice long spring hockey season.
Not too long or the ice melts. Just get it well into May. I think that'll make everybody happy.
At the blue line, here's Rod Langway. A slap shot. That's caught. Belfour makes the save. Led all the way down the ice, and Langway tries to get in Basson's way. That allows Peters to play the puck. Langway now clears it back into the Chicago zone. Washington has 25 shots on goal so far in this game. Chicago with 18. 5-3 in this third period, favoring the Capitals. Stevens back to chase it into his own end. To the point. Kept in. The drive goes wide, and now Hatcher flips it end over end out to center ice. Conroy puts it down and starts back. Drives it on net. Peters makes the save. Kevin Hatcher flips it back into the Chicago zone. Manson looks on the right wing side, and Scott Stevens had his check get away from him there and tripped him up, but there's no call on it. Hatcher goes back along the right wing boards and flips it all the way back into the Chicago zone. This will be icing as Manson goes in for it. There's the whistle to stop play. With 11 minutes and 33 seconds left to play here in the third period.
And these Hawk defensemen right now just looking to throw the puck up the ice and try and get a winger or a center breaking in the clear. Capitals have to make sure they keep those defensemen back. Scott Stevens a moment ago tried to challenge high at that blue line and didn't get his leg out and kind of trip up his check. Could have been danger for the Capitals. They must make sure they hang back a little bit because the Hawks are really throwing it up, letting the people skate under it. There was a game last year at the stadium, Mike, remember, where Dennis Savard just kind of took over in the third period. A couple spinorama deluxes, including one that won the game for him at the end, where he just skated around the net a couple times, then spun around in front, put that goal home as the Capitals defense exhausted just chasing him. And everybody else is kind of standing around watching him. So he is always going to be the man in these one-goal games. You have to keep particular eye on him.
Well, he's something to watch, and that's probably the biggest challenge a lot of times to players, just to avoid becoming a spectator in the game when he's out there on the ice.
And he reverses so well, particularly in that neutral zone. That's why with those Hawk defensemen throwing the puck up, even if it looks like the Capitals have got a rush going and everything okay, the way those Hawk defensemen take that puck and just throw it, and the way he can turn so quickly and get within a couple of strides at full speed, that is the danger. If the Capitals defense come in too close following the play, they can get burnt by Dennis Savard and that long pass to him.
Doug Wilson, we've seen throw that pass several times tonight from right behind the net. Here's Manson out at center on the right wing for Detroit-born Wayne Presley. Now a collision at the side of the goal between Pete Peters and Mike Eagles. And let's see who the call is going to be on here. It's going to be against Chicago. Mike Eagles will be penalized, and Pete Peters looks like he's okay. There's a break in the action with the score. Washington 4, Chicago 3.
Our recipe for the beer with the taste for food? Start with the finest all-natural ingredients, combined with a century-old brewing tradition. Chill and serve. Yeah, for great taste, it's a natural light from Anheuser-Busch.
is going to be quite a while, folks. There is a penalty to Mike Eagles, and the Chicago Blackhawk fans of the stadium expressing their displeasure by throwing the hockey cards of the Blackhawks that they were given when they came into the game. This will take a while to clean up. People warned us about this, that it happened last year. You'd think the management would learn to give them out when the people leave the building, but instead just fodder for people. And you should see Pete Peters right now. We can get a shot at Pete Peters in the net. He's protecting himself. He's using that cage for his own protection underneath there. It's probably the safest place to be right now in the building. Now here's the penalty. Watch it. Peters swinging around as he's trying to get back into the crease. You know, in that case, Rob Schick saying that Mike Eagles has got to get out of his way, but that's awful tough to do when you're coming in going for the puck. When you're trying to get the man with the puck and the goaltender's in the way, they're saying, though, that the skater has that ability and should be able to get out because Pete is allowed to get back into his crease. Right now, Dwayne Sutter trying to argue the case for the Blackhawks, but it will be a penalty to Mike Eagles at a critical time in this hockey game.
I'll tell you, here's something that you would never see happen at the Capitol Center, and for one very good reason. Charlie Copeland of the Capitals promotional staff would never give those cards out before the game. He'd make sure they got them as they left. That's in lesson number 1 of promotions. Just now, an announcement made.
So that'll mean, to please refrain. So that'll mean more will come out, I'll guarantee you.
We showed you a banner earlier of Bobby Hull from when his number was retired. In that shot, you just saw David Boyle shaking hands with Stan Mikita. Another Blackhawk great who is back in this building.
Well, they added some more banners here just less than a month ago with Tony Esposito and the great Glenn Hall, the two excellent goaltenders for the Blackhawks. The numbers retired, 35, the jersey worn by Tony O, and number 1 for Mr. Goalie Glenn Hall. He played here between 57 and 67, then went on to have some great seasons with the Blues. And, of course, Tony Esposito from 1969 to 84, and now the general manager of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Well, the Capitals return home for a great holiday doubleheader. On Friday night, the 23rd, the New York Rangers take on the Caps at 8:05. Then on the 27th, the Flyers come into town for the 7:35 face-off. You can pick up your tickets at all Hex Ticket Center outlets, or tomorrow call phone charge at 432-0200, or if you'd like the toll-free number 1-800-448-9009. And remember, it's hockey sticker album night for all fans 16 and under on Friday night when the Caps take on the New York Rangers. And these cards keep flying out of the stands. Looks like the attendants have everything cleared up, then something comes sailing in to center ice. And you know, this is going to be interesting to see. You would think this would work to the favor of the Blackhawks. Maybe they can calm themselves down a little bit, rest themselves up. The Capitals would have been able to go right with that emotion, with the crowd a little angry, and they could have come out right with that power play and how quickly they scored after the fight. But I think this could only favor the Blackhawks. The longer the Capitals wait, Mike, I don't think it helps them at all.
Well, as you watch Nancy Faust entertaining this crowd at the Chicago Stadium organ, we'll get you up to date again on our out-of-town scores brought to you by Giant. We told you about Montreal leading Quebec 6-4. Russ Courtnall, along with Mike McPhee, Mats Naslund, and a pair of goals by Brian Skrudlin, also one by Lemieux for the Canadians in the scoring in that game. Walt Podubny has 2 goals in that contest. Joe Sakic, back in action for the Nordiques, has also scored, along with Michel Goulet. But the Canadians into a 6-4 lead over Quebec. New Jersey and Winnipeg tied after 2 periods. It's Sean Burke and Pokey Reddick in that game at the Winnipeg Arena. And Thomas Steen and Pat Elenick have scored for the Jets. Paul McLean has 2 goals for the Devils, his 24th and 25th of the year. In the Ranger game, New York was beaten 5-2 by Buffalo at Madison Square Garden. The Ranger goal scorers, Ulf Dahlen and John Ogrodnik, while the Sabres had goals from Doug Bodger, who picked up his 4th and 5th. Mark Napier, Pierre Turgeon, and also another goal scored by Shepard. While Pittsburgh came up big over Toronto 6-1. By the way, the goaltenders in the Buffalo game, Van Beesbrook back in the nets tonight for the Rangers against Darren Pupa. Frank Pietrangelo for Pittsburgh tonight against Ken Reggett of Toronto. The only Leaf goal by Merwa. And Mario Lemieux with a hat trick in that game for Pittsburgh, his 34th, 35th, and 36th goals of the season. Paul Coffey had a goal, and Bob Erie had 2, his 14th and 15th of the year. Edmonton leading Vancouver 1-0 in the first period. Minnesota and Los Angeles just getting underway.
Well, we're about to get underway here. Finally, the ice has been cleaned up. Probably won't be the last of the cards, though, thrown. 2-minute penalty to Mike Eagles at 8:47. So the Capitals nursing the 1-goal lead now. A chance to really take charge in this hockey game against the dangerous Hawks.
The penalty call went to Eagles for interference. At 8:47, Washington's power play with a chance to open up some room in this game. Here's Courtnall. Back to Scott Stevens and loses the puck at the blue line. It comes back to Murphy at center ice. Larry Murphy over to Scott Stevens. Now back to Murphy. And the Capitals started out again. Courtnall down the left wing. Into the skates of Manson. And it's cleared ahead to Graham, but now Stevens takes over. Right side for Gartner, a slap shot. That hit Belfour right in the right shoulder. And he's able to stop it and covers the play is called.
And the Capitals tonight are using that Blackhawk insignia, I think, on Ed Belfour, was like a target. He's been peppered with shots up in that area, and again, it makes it a relatively routine play for Ed Belfour when you put it right there in that chest area and shoulder. Mike Gartner this time, remember the last time he had a little skating room, tried to put a fake on Dave Manson. Manson didn't buy it. This time Mike Gartner just coming down and blasting the drive right into the middle of Ed Belfour.
Ed Belfour faced the Devils on Saturday. That was the last Blackhawk game, and in that last outing he took a 5-3 loss. At least they got some size back in the Chicago net. He's certainly much bigger than Darren Pang.
Now Pete Peters has to stop the face-off for a second. There's a crushed paper cup thrown on the ice. Linesman Dan Shackney has to go and retrieve it. 1 minute, 12 seconds left in the Eagle call. David Christie to take this draw against Troy Murray.
The draw goes to the corner for Conroy. He's checked by Ridley. Kelly Miller behind the net over to Mike Ridley. A minute remaining on the Washington power play with Eagles in the penalty box for Chicago. Kelly Miller behind the net. Over to Dave Christian. Plays it off the boards back to the point. Now Grant Ledyard over to Hatcher. Winds and fires, and Belfour makes the save.
Brian Murray using Kelly Miller for one of the rare power play opportunities for Kelly Miller this year. He got a goal in the third period already, his 6th of the year, and I think Brian recognizing that for the most part, the Blackhawks really concentrating to try and slow down the Capital point man. Kelly Miller, such a good grinder, a guy in the corner to set up Ridley, to set up Christian. And this is going to be that type of goal that'll get scored here. A grinding type of dirty work goal in front of the net with some good work in the corners, and that's why Kelly Miller is out there with Ridley and Christian on the forward line.
Troy Murray now kicked out of the faceoff by linesman Pierre Shampoo. Dennis Savard will come in to work the draw against Ridley. Caps get the draw. Back to Scott Stevens at the point. Feeds it over to Kevin Hatcher. Hatcher dumps it in the corner. It rolls behind the net, and Manson clears it up the sideboards, and the Hawks come out shorthanded. Savard passes behind the back to Murray, and he fans on his shot. Dennis Savard with a behind-the-back pass had Murray in the clear, but he didn't get any wood on it. Here is Stevens over to Hatcher. To Christian in the corner. Now back to Ridley. Ridley winds up a shot. Kick save made by Belfour with his pad. At the point, Hatcher keeps it in. He winds, fires. It's wide of the net. Now back to Stevens, a drive. That misses the mark. Ridley tries to center, and Christian takes it to the side of the goal. He's knocked down by Manson. Hatcher's shot right into the skate of Conroy. He clears out to center ice. Eagles is out of the box. And Chicago is again at full strength. 9 minutes to play here in the third period. Washington leads 4-3. The goal by Kelly Miller here in the third period is the difference so far. Bobby Gould on the right wing. Dumps it back inside Chicago ice. Larmer starts ahead on the right wing. Gets to center. In across the Washington blue line. Right around Ledyard. And he couldn't get the shot underway. Peters came out and challenged him. Now Ledyard behind the net. Taken away by Larmer in the corner. Langway goes back to throw a hit. At the point, Yanni is bumped hard by Corriveau. At the blue line. Corriveau tries to work it free. Larmer keeps it in. And now Ledyard sends it all the way down. It misses Hunter, but Belfour plays the puck, so no icing is called. I did not see the other linesman wave that off. I'm not sure Belfour knew that was going to be icing. Here's a slap shot taken by Vive, and Ledyard made the play. Nice block by Grant Ledyard. Rebound. Shot right in front, and Peters is able to clear. And Langway pushes it all the way back to the point. Now Manson keeps it in. Here's Savard, bumped to the backboard by Grant Ledyard. Langway ties him up, and Hunter works it free. Manson keeps it in. The Hawks still playing a strong hitting game in the corners. They're throwing their weight around out there. Manson a drive, and that's caught by Peters right between the pads. And now Ledyard and Vive are nose to nose, and Hunter comes in with something to say about it. There's a break in the action with a score. The Capitals 4 and the Chicago Blackhawks 3.
Got another delay in the game as more cards thrown out on the ice. The attendants have to come out, scoop them up. In this situation, I think this is going to help the Capitals a bit. The Blackhawks really were buzzing, slows their momentum down, and certainly gives the Capitals defense a little more of a rest. Brian Murray needs to get his top 5 defensemen as much rest as possible because the Hawks are spinning and flying in this third period. Scott Stevens, Larry Murphy, the defensive duo out there now. Christian, Gartner, and Pavanka will be the forward lines. Dennis Savard out there for the Hawks with Thomas, Vive, Conroy, and Manson. Manson will try and get the puck off this draw from Savard.
Washington ends up with a face-off, though, and Murphy goes to the corner after it and clears it all the way down. Pavanka was cross-checked to the ice by Manson. Nothing was called. Out of center ice, here comes Savard. Sprints across the blue line and loses control of the puck. Drops it at the point. Conroy a shot, and that one is going to make it all the way up into the third deck. That's a long way up into the top deck of this building. And that one traveled quite a distance from the ice surface.
Those guys played it well, too. It'd be embarrassing if they let that thing get away.
Brian Murray, with only 6:57 to play here in the third period, knows his team has to be very careful of people like Savard when they're on the ice, and Savard's still out there with Vive and with Steve Thomas.
We can see what the Capitals are trying to do. You know, they lost the option of the possibility of having Ben Gustafson to stay with Dennis Savard, but on that last foray, Savard in deep and then comes swinging back out. Larry Murphy stayed with him. They're trying to get at least one man on him at all times in that defensive zone, and the Chicago offensive end of things, trying to make sure that Savard has somebody with them at all times. Go man-to-man if you have to, and that really requires some heads-up play by everybody on the ice when that takes place, because in that instance, Larry Murphy was out there almost by the blue line, so one of the forwards has to make sure to be down low helping out.
Troy Murray on with Thomas and Vive right now. Conroy and Manson are the blue liners. Capitals with Ridley, Leach, and Kelly Miller, and here's an offside call against Chicago. plus for the Blackhawks since being acquired from the New York Islanders in a trade that brought him aboard along with Bob Bassett. They gave up Gary Nyland and Mark Bergevin to the Islanders, and I don't know, Mike Keaton says it's not that one-sided a trade. He tells about how Nyland is probably very well suited to play in the Patrick division. But, you know, Conroy was always so tough against the Capitals. I think maybe we just look at it that way, but I think that's a great deal for Chicago.
I thought he was playing the best of all the Island defensemen at the time of the trade, and Capital fans certainly can remember the pesky job that Bob Bassett has done against the Capitals, particularly in the playoffs, and that is an element that had been missing for the Hawks. Bassett, a very defensive-minded, grinding type of center, type of guy that Mike Keenan always had in Philadelphia and didn't have a lot of here in Chicago.
Stevens misses with an attempt to check Presley. The puck's still in the Washington zone, and now Leach works it away. Scott Stevens to the corner after it. Sends it ahead to Ridley. Ridley across the line, hooked as he crosses the blue line. The Hawks take over. Here comes Thomas starting back. Now gives it to Presley. Scott Stevens pokes it to the point. Thomas keeps it in. And linesman Dan Shakty says hand pass. So that'll halt the action here with 5:56 to go in the third. There's a break in the action. The Capitals' lead is at 1.
5:56 left to go. Dennis Savard back on the ice for the Blackhawks out there with Graham and Larmer. Christian facing off against him. David Christian playing a lot of center these situations. He's centering right now for Courtnall and Gartner, using him out there to help take these faceoffs.
Here's Trent Yawney, number 8 for Chicago, back at his own line. Stolen by Mike Gartner. Gartner gets across the blue line to Christian. Back to Gartner in the corner. Gartner bumped against the backboards. Feeds it over to Dave Christian. Christian, a long pass into the other corner for Courtnall. He centers, but Yawney holds up Gartner. The Hawks take over. Graham along the sideboards, loses to Gartner. Puts it behind the net. Yawney makes the play. Ahead now for Larmer. Larmer to Savard. Dennis Savard skates the circle at center ice. Now gets across the blue line. Walks in, puts it right in front. And Graham couldn't do anything with the puck when he got it. Gartner. Lost it. Graham fires, and a glove save by Peters. He gives to Courtnall, and he whacks it out of the zone. Dirk Graham with 12 goals on the season, but didn't show a whole lot of ability with the stick on that pass from Savard. 4.5 minutes to play in the third period. Eagles jams up Ledyard and pulls his helmet off, and now Ledyard goes right after Eagles and runs him. There's going to be a penalty call, and Ledyard wants to know about the other side of it. He wants to know about the hit that Eagles put on him that pulled his helmet right off his head. Yet Ledyard is going to get the penalty. Boy, that's going to set the stage here for the Blackhawk power play. They're only down by 1, and they'll have all the guns loaded when we come back. There's a break in the action with a score. The Capitals 4.
But you knew the next penalty was not going to be on the Chicago Blackhawks. Here, Grant Ledyard gets run from behind, taken to the boards. Helmet pulled off. He goes after Mike Eagles with an elbow up and gets the roughing call. 15:39. Hawk power play in action.
5 behind the net, brings it over into the corner now for Troy Murray. Murray has it knocked away by Hatcher. Hatcher's out there with Stevens. Miller up front with Christian. Here's the pass to Savard. Back to Thomas. Stolen and cleared all the way down by Dave Christian.
Too fancy a play by Dennis Savard. He's wide open. He's got to shoot. Instead, he tries to give it back, and the Hawks lose control in the zone.
That cost them 20 seconds right there. Here's Kelly Miller to clear it out. And Savard has to go back to the Chicago line.
Now he's hearing some boos.
Bobby Gould out there for Washington now as Savard starts up ice. Hatcher and Stevens, Ridley and Gould, the penalty killers, and now the Hawks are offside.
And there's a situation where he should have passed, but he's trying to make up for the mistake he made, holding holding on the bucket, trying to make a spectacular play, and throws his line mates offside. No question, one of the most exciting players in the game, but it's an up-and-down performance for Dennis Savard sometimes. I think this is another area where Mike Keenan just can't have a real full grasp on him. You want him out there, you have to have him out there, but a play like that is very, very costly. Sometimes he'll just try and do too much. Now they'll have him out there at the right point with Wilson on the left side. Murray now moves to center ice.
Wilson drives it back inside the Washington zone, and Peters leaves it for Rod Langway, who clears off the boards past Savard, who is playing the right point, and it goes all the way down. Now Belfour gets rushed on the play by Gould. Wilson leads it ahead to center. Ridley and Gould hustle back up ice to get into the play. Here's Stevens to intercept, and he clears it all the way down.
I think Mike Keenan's seen enough. He's going to pull Savard off the ice with 35 seconds left in the penalty.
Manson dumps it in. Larmer back to the point. Doug Wilson a shot. Hits the skate of Stevens. Manson into the corner. Presley's taken out by Scott Stevens, and it comes over to Kelly Miller. He and Wilson collide. Dirk Graham handles the puck in the corner now after a Blackhawk teammate had passed it ahead with his hand. That stops play with 12 seconds to go in the Grant Ledyard roughing penalty. 2:33 left here in the third period of this game.
And if the Capitals can win this draw, or at least neutralize it in the center ice area, the 6 seconds, or the 12 seconds remaining, the Ledyard penalty should be up, and they would have dodged a major bullet. I'm going to be interested to see, Mike, how much time now Dennis Savard gets the rest of the game. You would expect in another 30 seconds he should be ready to go again. But will that last little bit of power play performance of overhandling the puck have Mike Keenan not use him as much?
It appeared that Keenan was glaring at Savard when Savard came back to the bench.
You keep an eye on him. Remember, in about another 30 seconds, he should be ready to go.
Langway jammed in the corner, gets it to the point. Conroy keeps it in. Dirk Graham in the corner. Now back to Conroy. Penalty's over. Ledyard's out of the box. The shot goes wide. Centering pass. Conroy fires. Blocked by Ledyard. Grant Ledyard out of the penalty box to make the block on that play. Led ahead now to Mike Gartner. 2 minutes remaining in the third period. Gartner hit as he crosses the line. The lead pass now to Everett Sanapass. Works to center ice. Inside the Washington zone, and Stevens takes a run at him with his shoulder and bumps him off the puck. At the point, Doug Wilson's drive goes wide. Here comes John Druce to center. He gives to Gartner, and Gartner shoves it on inside the Blackhawk zone. Manson pushing the point of that stick at Gartner's chest, and Gartner took a swing right at him with his stick. Here comes Presley. Starts ahead for Chicago into the Washington zone. Savard's back on the ice. He's behind the net, tries to center. And Murphy makes the block. Hunter leads it ahead for John Druce. Druce in all alone. Chased on the play and gets a shot off. Belfour makes the save. Yanni was the guy who took Druce out after the shot. Here's Larry Murphy. We're in the final minute of play in the third period. The Hawks are ready to pull Belfour to the bench. They want him to come to the bench now, and here's a lead pass for Gould. Belfour has to come back and plays the puck right to Gould. He fires wide. Belfour was on his way to the bench when the Caps started up ice. The puck dumped back inside the Chicago zone. Larmer knocks it down with a high stick, and that'll halt play with 28 seconds to go in the third period. And the Capitals have just a moment here to breathe before trying to keep the pressure on in the Chicago zone. The faceoff will be in Blackhawk ice. So that will further prevent the Hawks from getting Belfour to the bench. It'll take some time for the Hawks to clear the puck from the zone, even if they win the draw.
And In these key situations, a smart guy like Kelly Miller, deployed by Brian Murray, excellent defensive winger. He picked up the goal that right now stands to be the game winner for the Capitals. We hope to have a word with Kelly Miller after the game. The Capitals hold on for this 4-3 victory that they've got 28 seconds left to go on. A little delay now, again, some more debris on the ice. This can only factor for the Capitals at this point. Rest those players that Brian Murray once rested. Can't hurt. Now, more packets out on the ice. Pete Peters calling to Dan Shakty once again to try and get his attention. He would just take it himself and throws it over to some little kids. Mike Ridley on the draw.
It comes to Savard. The Hawks start Belfort toward the net. Up to center ice is Manson. Dumps it into the Washington zone. The Hawks put a sixth attacker out there. And back in Chicago ice. Here comes the pass. Dumped back into the Washington zone. It'll be icing if Hatcher gets there first, and he does. So that also helps the Capitals' cause now as the fans continue to dump debris on the ice, and that could have tripped up some of the players.
You know, that's the thing. They were doing it while the play was in action. Now, I mean, it's ridiculous to do it now, but it's really dangerous when you're starting to throw it while the players are skating. You trip over one of those things, you twist your knee, you blow something out. It's pointless. There's plenty of great sports fans in the city of Chicago, but obviously a number of morons here this evening. Looking also to Mike, keeping a close eye on Dennis Savard, and he was ready to come back out a little earlier than he got there, but Everett Santabass, who was out there in a centerized position, skated past the bench, and Savard put that hand, the palms up, looked like, hey, what's going on here? He was ready to jump out, and the young player Santabass didn't head back to the bench in time, so he could have been out there a little earlier than he was. I don't know, that didn't set particularly well, and very dramatically.
I thought it was interesting that in my determination, it looked as though Mike Keenan and Jacques Martin were both watching the play as Washington had the puck back in their zone. The Blackhawk players were waving at Belfort to come to the bench, and Belfort almost didn't believe them.
Yeah,
like he wanted to see Keenan say that.
He's got to do it. Keenan was up, standing up on the bench, and I think had that stop sign out. He was sure that the Hawks did not have complete control of it.
I'll go a bit further and say that had Belfort taken his teammates' advice the first time and gone all the way over, Gould would have chased the puck all the way down by himself without anybody else to get there. You remember Belfort came out and got that puck? I think it was the hesitation that kept him out there for another 3 or 4 seconds before he finally went. That probably saved an empty net goal in the long run.
So you can see how frustrated the Hawk players are right now with their fans because they know this can only help the Capitals. Keep them rested, keep them strong. Seen a couple Hawk players smash their sticks on the bench. And Doug Wilson, when a piece of debris came by him, just very violently flung it away.
Here's Wilson chasing to the backboards. 6 seconds left in the third period. The puck cleared all the way down into Washington ice. And Miller is going to let Dirk Graham play it because time has run out. And the Washington Capitals have beaten the Chicago Blackhawks tonight by a score of 4-3. Shots on goal in the third period. Well, they've already turned the shot clock off. So here comes the announcement now.
Washington Capitals 9 for a game total of 29. The Blackhawks 9 for a game total of 24.
There you have it, 29-24, favoring Washington tonight in the hockey game, and the Capitals win 4-3, and the Caps with 38 points now. With the Philadelphia Flyers idle this evening, they move ahead of Philly and take sole possession now of third place in the Patrick Division. Pittsburgh has already won, so they still trail the Penguins by 6, but the Rangers lost. So now the Capitals are tied with New York, and now are tied for second place in the Patrick Division with 38 points. The Blackhawks remain in last place in their division with 20 points with a record of 8-22-4. The Capitals are 17-14-4. Back with the post-game show after we pause for these messages.